I'm Andrew Shear from the At Home Artists Project. We are a collective of artists cultivating new work while at home. This week, we have an awesome evening of music planned from artists all over the world. If you're interested in supporting us in our work, please consider paying what you can for a ticket at the Eventbrite link in the video description below. Your generous donation is split between the artists that you see on camera tonight, our costs, and the Actors Fund. The Actors Fund's mission is to foster stability and resiliency and provides a safety net for performing arts and entertainment professionals over their lifespan. This mission aligns very much with our goals here at the At Home Artists Project. But tonight, we have three different groups. We have Bug Street, Zac Messick in Toronto, Canada. We have Deux, Saisons, Carrie Lee Pierson and Christopher Schoelen in St. Augustine, Florida, and Audrey, Knuth and Benjamin Jaber in San Diego, California. And then afterwards, we're gonna have a discussion and a question and answer session with all of the artists. So please drop your comments and questions for the artists into the chat on YouTube, and we'll be answering those after the show. Like and subscribe as always, and you can find all of our artists' social media info by clicking show more just below the video. Remember to contribute to the artist by paying what you can for a ticket. And without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our first artist. We have Zac Messick, Bug Street in Toronto, Canada.
Cool, thank you. Very excited to be here. This is cool. I didn't realize that we have Florida and Toronto and California, and that's really neat. So I'm originally from North Carolina, and then I moved to New York City, and then I went back to North Carolina, and now I'm in Toronto. I play in a Celtic duo, Jig Street, with my fiance, who's in the other room teaching music, which is great. And but this is Bug Street. So this is my original music version. This is the street that we're on now. So I'm going to play three crowd favorite songs that I have written. They're called Midnight Blue, and then Dump Truck, and then Sphagnum. So this first song is called Midnight Blue. I actually wrote this as a, I used to host an open mic in New York City, and the theme of this week was Paisley. So everyone had to write a song this week, you know, for the week. And this is the song that I wrote for that one. Packing some pride like Ovis Poli with a spiraling horn, and my lost side adorned to the sea. As I gaze out into the water, at least the color's the same, although everything changed in a way. I'm decided I'm not sorry, though you're gone, the sky's the same. I guess I'm happier without you, though you're my deepest hue, my darkest blue, my darkest blue, my darkest blue, my darkest blue. Got grand visions like Obadiah while he was caught in his cage, writing plays, making ways for the slaves. Mine don't seem so high prophetic, more in wallowing ways. I'm wishing someone would stay for the day. I'm not sorry, though you're gone, the sky's the same. You know I'm happier without you, though you're my deepest hue, my darkest blue, my darkest blue, my darkest blue, you're my darkest blue. We got green and blue walls, clean and new. We got green and blue while I'm missing you. We got midnight blue walls, midnight blue walls, Midnight blue, I'm missing you, yeah. My deepest you, oh, it's you. My darkest blue, my darkest blue, my darkest blue. You're my darkest blue. We got paisley skies sighing behind them. It's just a flicker of you. It's the deepest of hues. It's the darkest of blues that I know. So that's that song, Midnight Blue. The next song I'm going to play is called Dump Truck. This is a song that I wrote in probably about like 2 minutes. I wasn't feeling very good when I wrote this song, but people like it, despite how little I worked on it. It's one of those things, right? And I think a lot of artists might be able to relate to that. It's like, okay, well, what about the songs I worked forever on? Forget those, play Dump Truck. So I'm gonna play Dump Truck. It's a quieter song, so slowing it down. Well, I don't wanna go, but I don't wanna stay. Though I've been here before, I can't look away. Well, there's a dump truck picking leaves up. There's a dump truck picking me up. There's an airplane flying away. I left my tickets on the train. I think my 9 volt's running now, and there's a gas leak in the stove. And if I never seen in love, it's 'cause I shook down to my bones. There's a dump truck picking leaves up. There's a dump truck picking me up. There's an airplane flying away. I left my tickets with my brain. There's a dump truck picking leaves up. It's picking me up. There's an airplane flying away. I left my tickets on the train. Well, I don't wanna go, but I don't wanna say it. And that's the end of that song. It has no resolve, which can be confusing for an audience, which is, I guess, maybe lucky for me because I don't have to worry about people. Are they going to clap or not? I just get to deal with, I lead the show. I'm pacing this right now. Every musician's dream. So this last song is called Sphagnum, and it means it's any genus of plant that decomposes into peat. And peat is what you use to smoke scotch. And so I was in Winston-Salem. I went to UNCSA, University of North Carolina School of the Arts, in high school, and then I went to Wake Forest in college. And my friends were everywhere, and so I was sitting at this house of one of my friends at UNCSA, and everything in the song is just like literally me just sitting there like looking around. There's a laundromat here, and there was a little like a little school during recess here, and there was like this little stone, like crocodile alligator thing. I don't know, so you might hear that in the song. Saisons. Think we should wait to find another stormy day with all the people glaring, flood gone swept away, and where there ain't a shine, I know the stars are blowing high. And the laundromat before us, it smells like old perfume, but the crocodiles don't mind. He's found them told me to. When the stairs are slippery, don't expect me to catch you. Oh, so take me. I see the peat moss growing while I pour whiskey. Yeah, me. I see the schoolgirls running wild for poor James Dean. Let's open up the windows, let in the rainy breeze. Turn down the air conditioning so small won't coat the trees. Cause when I look above me, every day starts to disappear. Maybe ether will clear our doubting minds while we're asleep. Hopefully, when we awake, we'll jump around. We'll pull the weeds out from the ground. We'll shout for heaven to let earth join its brigade. Cool. That was Sagnum. If you ever want to hear that song, there's actually this Irish band I play with, Bana. We do original stuff, and you can check them out on every platform ever. We have a new album too. That's not from the new one, but we have another one, so check it out.
Great. Thank you so much, Zac. That was awesome. So we'll see Zac again after this for the Q&A. Once again, that was Bug Street, Zac Messick in Toronto, Canada. You may contribute to the artist by paying what you can for a ticket below at the bit.ly link. You can also find all of these artists on social media by clicking the show more below the video. Please drop any questions or comments in the chat. We'll have a talk back with the artists after the show. And of course, like and subscribe. So coming up next, we have Deux, Saisons, Carrie Lee Pierson, and Christopher Schoelen in St. Augustine, Florida.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Hello. We are here, and we're here for this live stream tonight here on YouTube. Thank you for joining us.
We're Deux, Saisons. I'm Carrie Lee Pierson. I'm a soprano, and this is Dr. Christopher Schoelen, and he plays classical guitar.
Classical guitar, yeah.
Yes. So we have a nice little set of music for you tonight. We're classical musicians. We have a little bit of everything. We're starting with Renaissance here with John Dowland's very popular piece, Flow My Tears, originally written for lute.
Flow my tears, fall from your space, exiled torment me on. When night's black madness and infamy sings, silence me before. Hark, you shadows that in darkness dwell, learn to contemplate. Happy, happy they that in hell feel not the world's despite. Hark, you shadows that in darkness dwell, learn to contemplate. Happy, happy they that in hell feel not the world's despite.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you
Yes.
for your virtual claps.
Thank you very much. Yes, yeah. So we have a few more pieces for you. The next piece is a piece that was actually written specifically for our duo. There's that for being such a classic duo in voice and guitar. There's for classical music, there's actually not that much voice and guitar music out there, except for
least
really old music.
Right. It's like on the spectrums. You got your old and you have your modern, but there's big gap in the middle for a lot of it. But this is by Erin Tompkins. It's poetry that she wrote herself. We went to this festival in Cortona, Italy. Not Corona, Italy, Cortona, Italy. And she was actually one of the few artists we didn't get to meet there. She was an alumni for this festival. She wasn't part of the festival that year, but she did write us this piece called Becoming, and she wrote the poetry as well, and we hope you enjoy it like we do. are in the process of becoming. How can we, you and me? How can we, you and me? How can we? I am in the process of becoming
All right, so that's our piece that was written for us in Cortona, Italy. We had a lot of dynamic changes there, which we kind of realized halfway through. But the next piece is our final piece. It was written by actually a classical guitar composer. There's actually 4 movements to it, so we're going to. There's 6 in all, but we're only going to play 4. It's a classical era piece, so very classical. It sounds very classical, very typical of what you would think of classical music.
in Italiano.
And it's in Italian, of course. And so we're going to play 4 movements. And this piece is also going to have a lot of dynamic changes. The first one is kind of mellow. The second one is also that we're playing is also kind of mellow. The third one has more dynamic changes, and the fourth one is kind of really loud and robust.
And to kind of match what's going on, I couldn't, when I did this set of music on my master's recital at the University of South Carolina, I know the first act was another Carolina person. We're South Carolina, which is where we met, was in South Carolina, while Christopher was getting his doctorate and I was getting my master's. So the music here, I've roughly translated to being a set of songs that are all love songs, and it seems like a stream of the same story, where it starts off with love at first sight, and then kind of heartbreak, and eventually moving on past that person. So even back in Giuliani's time, they had the same problems we have today.
Yes. All right. So it's a set of 4 pieces, 4 separate pieces, and we'll just play through them. And before we finish, we just want to say thank you for this for this stay-at-home artist program for putting us on. It's been a pleasure playing with you guys and being part of this program. So we're just gonna finish up with this last. Thank you for So please buy your tickets for the program because there's a lot of work that goes into it. So we are gonna play this last 4 pieces.
Che piange il mio bene, il coro rabbonde. Chi mi dice ove andò? Chi mi dice ove andò? Segreto musichiero, che mi renda quella pace Quando sarà quel dì chiolante sempre prima così, povero cuore, selle che crudeltà, un sul piacere vi, chi quando si avviva non si adora. Stelle che crudeltà, un sul piacere non vi, chi quando mio si va non si adora. Quando sarà quel dì chiolante sempre trema così, povero cuore, sempre trema così, povero cuore, sempre trema così, le dimore, amor non ama, le dimore, amor non ama, presso a lei chi ama amore, ed io volove mi chiama, ed io volove mi chiama, il mio caro, il mio caro, il mio caro condottiere, ed io volove mi chiama, ed io volove mi chiama, il mio caro condottiere,
Okay, that's our set. Thank you.
Thank you again. The project at home artists project. Sorry. And if there's any composers or artists out there that want to collaborate, let us know.
Great, excellent. Thank you guys so much. And if there is anyone who wants to get in touch with them, their social media handles are below if you click show more below the video. Thank you so much to everyone who's contributed to this project by buying a ticket at the bit.ly link below. These contributions go to support directly the artists that you see on camera here tonight, as well as the Actors Fund. So once again, that was Deux, Saisons. That was Carrie Lee Pierson and Christopher Schoelen in St. Augustine, Florida. Now we're going to kick it off to the other coast. This is Audrey Knuth and Benjamin Jabber in San Diego, California.
Hi, everyone. In case there was any confusion, I'm Audrey, and that's Ben. We're going to start off with a bunch of jigs. The first one is called I Buried My Wife. Second one is Scully Casey, and the last one is Old Favorite. All right. One, two. There you have it.
3 little jigs. We like to dedicate those to Blackie O'Connell and everyone watching, maybe in Ennis. I know Blackie's watching in Ennis, County Clare right now. So big shout out to the folks in West Clare. Hope everyone's keeping well and can maybe watch this later, if not right now. So
I was just thinking that Ben and I were in Hawaii over St. Patrick's Day, and I'm pretty sure we were the only people who got to keep their St. Patrick's Day gigs.
I wouldn't somehow, some way,
somehow
in
that
Hawaii, which is
that they're always 2 weeks behind, anyways.
everywhere else in the world. Yeah. So we got to play on St.
So,
Patrick's Day. We were very, very lucky to do that. So
Yeah.
thanks everyone there who might watch this too, who let us play tunes on St. Patrick's Day in Waikiki.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're gonna play a waltz now.
Yeah, we're gonna play a waltz called Two Rivers, which is written by a dear friend of mine named Larry Unger, who is an incredible guitar banjo player in the contra dance world, and yeah, so.
For those of you who might be watching who don't know what this instrument is, these are Irish uilleann pipes, or the Irish form of bagpipe, which is blown with a bellows. Here under my right arm, I'll maybe explain more about that later, but I have this melody instrument that I play with my fingers. I'm going to play this tune on this wooden flute that I've got here now. So it's a lovely soft sound, perfect sound for this sort of tune.
Yeah, and I'm going to play the fiddle.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. it. That's Two Rivers by Larry Unger.
It's a gorgeous tune, isn't it?
Yeah.
Love that tune.
Check his stuff out. He's kind of awesome, as it turns out.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll finish off with 3 classic reels, classic Irish reels for you now. The first one is called The Torn Jacket, and the second one is called The Bear Island Reel, and the last one is called The Bank of Ireland. And so we're going to try and remember these 3 for you now. And thank you very much to everyone for having us here for this lovely program, and we're delighted to be here playing from our house, and hope everyone enjoys it. So give us a second. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much again.
There she blows.
There she blows.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I'd like to open it back up to everybody. So we are moving on to our discussion questions type part of the stream here. So we've got Jay Pierson, my favorite, lots of smileys, hearts from Heidi Stye. Jay Pierce says, I love this sound. Oh, hi. There you go. Jay Pierce says, I love this sound, Audrey and Benjamin. Jerry Folsom says, you should hear him on the French horn. So please go ahead and drop your comments or questions into the chat box on YouTube, and I'll go ahead and read them out and have them answer. Okay, so Mariah Berkowitz says, what interesting musical instruments? What kind of instruments are you playing? So I think, Ben, you talked about this before, but do you wanna just say that again for anyone who missed what you were playing?
These are Irish bagpipes, and they're formerly known as uilleann pipes. You might see that U word, U-I-L-L-E-A-N-N, and this is what they look like. They have these keys on them, and there's a bag here which holds the air, and the chanter bit that I put my fingers on plays the melody, and these keys here play the harmonies and all the rhythms that I play, and then the drones just hum away down in the bottom, and this little pump here gives you the air. So they're a woodwind instrument. They're very complicated, and they change a lot with the weather. But
as an understatement.
Yeah, and the reeds though have luckily been behaving pretty well in San Diego at the moment. So glad that they're working for you today anyway. So yeah, that's what they are.
Great, excellent, cool.
Yeah, and this is just a wooden flute. This is just a Irish wooden flute.
Wood.
Yeah, and it's got no keys on it. This was actually made in Ireland, so it is a true Irish flute. It was made by Martin Doyle in Ireland, and it's no keys, no tuning slide, and I love this flute a lot, actually. I love to play this flute. So I don't play the flute very much, and when I do, I like to play that one. So.
Very cool, very cool. Mariah also asks, I'd love to know all the instruments that all of the artists are trained in or dabble in. So let's start with you guys, Audrey and Ben, because you guys are already have your mic up, and then we'll go to Deux, Saisons, and then Zac Messick.
Yeah, so I play the fiddle. I play mostly contra dance, which is a New England style of dancing. If you think of like square dances, but instead it's in lines. And it's been around for a really long time and kind of stems from English country dancing, Quebec dancing as well. And so that's kind of what I do. I play genres all over the place. And Ben has put up with me learning the Irish banjo. So that's what I've been working on lately.
I love the banjo.
Sorry.
I play the pipes and the flute and the whistle. I also play the tin whistle, but before this whole hoopla started with this whole unmentionable pandemic thing, I played the French horn. Jerry Folsom, who chimed in, mentioned that I play the French horn. I do that. I play principal French horn in the San Diego Symphony here, which is why I live here in San Diego. And so I was brought up in classical music. Both my parents play classical music and sang. Was brought up playing the piano and singing, and then I started playing the horn when I was young, and then I went that route and got a job playing the horn, and then all the while was playing Irish music. So that's me.
Amazing, very cool. Yeah. Carrie Lee and Christopher.
Oh yes.
You want to go first?
Sure. Well, I dabbled in a lot of different types of music. I've always just played guitar. Guitar is kind of my instrument, and that's what I've stuck with. But I've dabbled in a lot of different types of music, including rock, folk, jazz, blues. I actually grew up in Vermont, where as the Irish players were saying earlier, I played a lot of New England contra dance music as well, kind of with people there.
Brattleboro represent.
Yeah,
Spent a lot of time in Vermont too.
Yeah, it's a nice state. Yeah, a nice place to grow up for sure. And but then I got into classical music and classical guitar kind of took took my passions and I went with those. So
I said it's kind of fun and cool because people are they got to hear steel string, and then right after that a nylon string, which a lot of people probably don't think about the different kinds of acoustic guitars, which is fun. But I grew up playing piano. I've been in choir probably since I was 3 or 4. I decided I was in marching band in high school. I played flute and piccolo. And I wanted to pursue music education on flute, but I'd never had a lesson in my life. So I decided to audition in voice instead because I was like, maybe I'll make that audition. And I got it. And then I switched full force into not education, into performance, into classical style singing. And that's kind of where I am. Still play flute.
she just got a new Yamaha flute, which is nice upgrade from her older flute. But getting used to those keyless.
Oh yeah, I've never had a hole, the keys with the holes in them before. But I also ordered a used flute, and all the pads are completely shredded. So
Same thing.
Yeah.
Very cool. Zac?
So I play all the plucky, stringy instruments. I got the let's see, I got the octave mandolin or the bouzouki and the mandolin, and then there's also a banjo over there, and the ukuleles or basses and those things. But really, mandolin and octave mandolin, the bouzouki. I know octave mandolin and bouzouki aren't the same thing, but we'll just call them the same thing for now. Those are the instruments that I play the most when I'm not by myself. But when I'm by myself, the guitar serves me well with the steel strings.
Very cool. Very cool. So just in case you were wondering who else is on this call, this is Emma Present. She's our audio and visual designer. So she's been helping us out. So if you have any questions for the process or for us as admins, she's here to answer that. Let's see, Zac, while I've got you here, got a question for you. How did you find your sound? What were some of your inspirations?
It's a good question.
You can pass. It's not Jeopardy. It's okay.
No, obviously my inspirations are who I grew up listening to from like my parents, which are very different like music listeners, right? So like my dad listened to a lot of Dave Matthews and like kind of weird stuff, like the Cockatoo Twins are pretty weird, or is it Apex Twins? Cockatoo Twins, right? Pretty bizarre music over here. And then my mom listened to some more like kind of more like Christian music, like Rich Mullins or like Burlap to Cashmere, which is like much more folky and instrumental. But then I also have like the first band I played with, it was my aunt and my uncle were a part of it, or they're still a part of it, Bana. And so that really like pushed me to actually get proficient at an instrument, because all of a sudden I was on a stage playing it and not just like playing by myself. So yeah, I guess that's my broad answer for that.
Very cool. Very cool. Does anyone else have any thoughts on inspiration or where you found your sound? We can move on if not.
It's such a heavy question. Oh, wow.
No, it's good discussion.
Yeah.
For us, at least for me, being classical musicians, we're kind of always trying to find ways to connect with a more contemporary audience, people who maybe don't have access to classical music as much or don't understand it as well. So we kind of try to tune to our audience, I guess.
For sure.
So Carrie Lee and Christopher, we have somebody here, beautiful voice and playing, they say. What do you like about performing classical music as opposed to contemporary music?
It's harder. Most of the time it's harder.
Yeah, right?
The specific styles, like contra music can also be really hard. Gypsy jazz is really hard. The more specific you get, the harder it gets.
Yeah, I think just I like the classical has a lot of variety in what you can do in the classical music genre. I mean, you can have really old music like what we played at our first piece, which is from the 1500s, 500-year-old music or something, and then you can have contemporary stuff that is very dissonant and strange sounding, kind of like our second piece, what we played, which was a contemporary piece. But there's even more further contemporary pieces that sound even stranger than that. And so I like the span of the complexity of how much music you get in one genre.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
my favorite part of what I do as a horn player. Actually, my life as a horn player is just the variety of stuff that I do in the orchestra.
Absolutely, yeah.
Exact same answer, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah.
Very cool. So we've got one that's a question that says, what is your most favorite music-related memory? Don't have a good story, a good music story, good music-related memory? Could be anything. That's like, gosh.
That could be, yeah, that's there's a lot of answers there.
Personal.
Also personal, yeah.
I'll say that like I could go two ways with that question, and one of them is like, what's my favorite memory performing music, which there's a lot of those, but then I think maybe the more personal ones in a good way are like the memories that I have to a song that I've written. So I briefly mentioned that for that one song Sphagnum, but like when I play that song, and like one of the reasons that I still enjoy playing it, even though it's pretty simple and it's pretty I don't know, I've played it a lot because people kind of know it, I guess, who know my music. I like the memory that it evokes in me. Right. So I like that this like kind of like the day was rainy and then the rain stopped and then all of a sudden it was like quickly sunny, you know, those kind of days, like the sun came out too quickly and it made the rain kind of like sticky in the air. I remember the tapestry was blowing in the wind. I just remember so much vividly about that day. So honestly, that's probably my most vivid music memory if I'm thinking about like writing a song.
What I was going to say is that it's not a specific memory, but what I feel very lucky is that what I do again is I play 90% of what I do is play for dancers. And that is kind of my favorite thing about playing music is that I get to watch people physically interact with what we are playing. Not a plug for my band, but I play in a band called Wake Up Robin, wakeuprobin.com. And we
Go
get
check
to
'em out.
across the country playing these music festivals and get to play whatever we want and get to see people interact. It's just like the thing that I miss the most right now and can't wait to get back to being able to play for dancers. Yeah.
Sadly, nobody at my orchestra concerts tends to get up and dance. People are more prone, except in the summertime. San Diego Symphony, we play 10 weeks of summer concerts, which we are just crossing like crazy all of our fingers that will maybe pick up a couple weeks of that this summer. We really hope. We're supposed to open a whole new concert venue here. And but yeah, people have been known to get up and dance in the summer concerts. But I love getting to play dance music for that reason, you know. I have done. I have played for, you know, for set dances, for Irish dances.
I've made him play for a couple of concerts.
I may or may not have been to a couple of concert dances.
He had no choice.
Well, I foresee an at-home artist project dance event. So maybe we'll see.
Fun.
Could do this virtually, maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? So I just want to say thank you so much for everyone who has contributed by buying a ticket at the Eventbrite link, which is just below this video here. So if you haven't contributed yet, please go ahead and do so. You can find all these artists on social media by clicking show more below the video. And I think we are going to go ahead and wrap it up here. If anybody, does anybody have anything they'd like to say before we do? But thank you all so much. Thank you to everyone who has chatted and asked great questions. This has been a fantastic evening, and thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all
Thanks
so
for
much.
joining us.
Thank you.